I'm selecting an existing multi-measurement. This example already has 2 poles or structures defined, but I'm going to add a new one by tapping the plus. It says there, select the top of the height stick, which I'm zooming in nice and close and tapping the screen at the top. And now you'll see the red icon is showing. I can tap that and it's asking for the stick lower mark. Now this pole is a 5-foot pole, and I've chosen a 3-foot increment. So it's in 1-foot intervals, 1, 2, 3. So this point here is the midpoint between the end of the 3rd foot. It's as simple as that. Now I can see that the distance derived from the height stick is 39.49, which is about right, 40 feet for that pole. And it's UAM 1 with a height stick. Now when I zoom out, you can see the top of the pole there. What I'd like to do is measure the height of that pole. So I switch to the Process tab, zoom in on that pole and choose Pole Top. You can see my pole's selected. It's showing in green. I'm going to tap there. It tells me that pole is 29.085 feet, which I know is the correct height for that pole. There you have it. We can also look at the pole deflection by tapping this button on the right and choosing the midpoint of the pole. It will show us the both the lean and deflection for that pole. So if I slide up the information card, I can see that the pole is 29 feet high. It's on a 0.9 degrees lean, and we need to know what type of pole it is. So this is an unknown concrete, and it will tell us its bending lead and its ground rotation. If you know the length of the pole from the class, like a 440, it'll also tell you the embedment, how deeply that pole is embedded in the ground. While I'm on this tab, I'm also going to look at attachment heights. So I'm tapping on this button on the left, and then I can zoom in and find the points of interest. So we want to identify the lowest electric, which this is an odd looking pole, but I'm going to tap the plus button. There's actually a low voltage conductor, and it has this drip wire hanging off it. So I'm going to choose that as the LV, and its component is overhead line circuit open wire conductor, and I'll say drip wire below diagonal crossarm. I'm going to hit plus, and I'm going to add the upper electric, so I'm going to go for the 11 kV. Tap that there, select 11 kV, and again the component is the overhead line circuit conductor. You can use the same feature to capture other points of interest, for example the king bolt, which I'm going to say here is component, overhead line, structure, crossarm, king bolt. So that if you're asked to do other attachments, you can use that example. And the final one I'm going to add is this one here, which is the lowest comms line, overhead line, other. And I'm putting the lowest comms in here. If I tap that button, I can see the height measurements for all of the attachments.